whatever happened to playing with dolls and dreaming of Prince Charming? Chrissy Pollard reporting from Portsmouth. Now there is, as you might expect, a lot of controversy about whether or not video nasties, or indeed TV in general, does affect behaviour, especially among the young. Some experts say it does, most say it doesn't, and they're the Home Office have for the time being rested their case. Naturally, there are many people in the country who squirm at the very thought of video nasties, but how many have actually seen any? Liam Sanford has probably seen more video nasties than anyone else in the country. He reviews them for Video Viewer, and what's more, he thinks they're misunderstood. Seems to me, Liam, there are two issues at stake, the making and marketing of these films and their availability to young viewers. That surely can't be right.
Well, apart from the fact that the first point that you made about the boy who'd seen the vampire film, in fact, on page 2 of The Sun, it does mention that he didn't actually see it. His mum said so. It was just something that he decided to go out and do that day. And part 2 is the fact that some of the statements regarding those films were a teeny bit exaggerated.
But it may be that, of course, the films have stimulated those girls' imagination in a way that in itself is a bad thing.
Well, I certainly wouldn't agree with the fact that children ought to be allowed access to them. I mean, but when you start saying that you ought to ban video nasties, I mean, what do you do if little Willie gets hold of the key to the drinks cabinet and takes a swig of gin? I mean, do you ban all gin then? Okay,
well, let's just stay, however, with this question of their easy availability to young people, whether the parents know about it or not. I was very struck by the woman in there who talked about the loss of innocence in children.
Oh, I agree with you. I think that there is a strong possibility that possibly children's imaginations may be really speeded up somewhat to pick up on things that they normally wouldn't think about. And I certainly don't think that they should be made available to children. I think the worst that they could come off from one would be a nightmare, but the fact that the video rating system has now been introduced should mean that there would be less chance of children getting hold of them because they're rated 18, which means adults only, 18R, which means adults only, and naughty bits.
Okay, we'll be discussing what we can do to the hands of children a bit later on. I mean, you seem a normal enough fellow. Why do you watch them?
Well, I've always enjoyed the horror movies as such, and I suppose the nasties are a logical progression, which is not to say that I don't slag an awful lot of them. I mean, some of them are so wonderfully diabolical that they make Monty Python look positively restrained. I mean,
you take a pretty flippant attitude to them. You plainly don't think they're to be regarded seriously.
No, I do regard a lot of them seriously, but I write about them in a light-hearted manner in order to strike a balance. I mean, everybody is so anti-nasty. I mean, you can go from the top end of the scale with bloodbath and superstition and pranks, right the way down through Deadly Spawn, which is your 50s monster on the rampage thing, where the monsters finish up in somebody's blender at one point in the middle of their food.
Does it count that there's enough real violence and nastiness in the world without having this stuff foisted on us?
Well, there's a difference between the real violence. I mean, you can watch any newscast each night and you can see the camera zooming into the blood on the pavement. Somebody has really died, and yet nobody's going to complain about the fact that the media have exploited that. In these films, people can look at it and know that this is not really happening.
Well, I hope that they do know that it's not really happening.
Me too.
Thank you, Liam.